And congratulations, by the way. You're our first ever repeat guests.
Oh, hey!
It was better to happen.
Okay.
It's a testimony to how we have nothing better to do.
Right, Gav, we're recording now, so whenever you're ready.
Radio. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to In Conversation With. My name's Gavin Kelly. Colin McDonald, my co-host. How you doing?
Not too bad, Gav. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Surviving quarantines. Not going too bad these days, but happy today to see that we have our first two-time guests on In Conversation With.
Woo!
Boys, Tebi Rex, how we doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Oi, what's up, man? Heard you lost your virginity. It's lit.
A lot has changed.
Still.
A lot has changed since then, man. It's been a journey of discovery, really.
It's a bit.
We'd love to see growth.
Like Gav was saying, it's our first ever repeat guest. So we first interviewed the two boys October 2018, I believe, in and around. And back then, I think the biggest news for you was your feature with the Blizzards.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
A while ago.
That's it, wild.
Back then, and you obviously had just played EP as well and Longitude the previous summer. And
That's a good summer.
But since then, well, I'm very pleased to say, because I was at the launch party, you released an album.
Word, man. We dropped.
Tell the young will eat the old. If anybody hasn't listened to it, you really should. I mean, it's over 600,000 streams on that bad boy now. I believe
I've done his research.
My math is correct.
Probably.
Yeah. So tell us, if anybody doesn't know, tell us the concept for the album, because the concept for it is very interesting. And then just tell us about the creative process.
Matt, you take it away, man.
All right, you're real. Yeah, so the album, funny enough, was in its origins came from a painting by a man called Francesco Goya, and it's a painting of Saturn eating his son. Really gory painting. Would really recommend having a peep at that. It's quite cool. But the idea behind it is that in Greek mythology, there was a whole thing of, it was prophesized that Saturn would be overthrown by his son. So what he did was to avoid this, so he would eat his son and would keep eating his son. Eventually, one of his sons was stowed away and was kept safe. And he then said, I would never be like my dad. I would never be this big, crazy tyrant. I would never be like the ones that are ahead of me. Funnily enough, as the story goes, you go on to become exactly like your father and then get overthrown. And the cycle just continues to repeat. What we thought was quite interesting to map that back into what we see in modern day, especially with our own stories, is that what would happen if we were to become massive celebrities, really rich, and everything we wanted? Would we become these dickheads, essentially, that just don't give a shit? Like, if you look at how, like, Kanye West turned, for example, he kind of lost the run of himself. Not even kind of, he lost the run of himself. Would that happen to us? We would say it wouldn't, but you would never know. And to be honest, that could be your fate. So we thought that would be a really nice idea for an album, and a really fun topic to explore. So we kind of did that in a mix of ways. We had 3 different acts in there. We had a lot of spoken word kind of detailing the story, which we quite liked as like a narrative piece, because Greek mythology and storytelling, to have that storytelling aspect was quite cool. Plus it's a super Irish thing to have storytelling involved in there. So yeah, I think that's a fairly lengthy description of the album.
And some great features on there. Obviously, Natalia O'Flaherty doing the spoken word pieces during the acts, and then you have Bobby Arlo and local boys. So great to see a plethora of Irish acts helping you out with it as well.
Yeah, I mean, like, I must double check, but I'm pretty sure the entire thing is Irish produced in terms of features, in terms of mixing, in terms of production for the beats. It's all within the country. So we really wanted to have that kind of not even necessarily feel, because I think it feels a little bit it's very diverse, but we wanted it to be steeped in this kind of stuff, because I think there was questions of, like, we considered being like, hey, we spend the money in to get a big feature, or we do XY, just kind of give this a little boost in terms of, international press. But I think we just wanted to make something that it felt natural to do, and the whole thing felt supernatural. So that was key.
Nice. The whole Greek mythology thing is really cool, and I didn't know that about the painting, but that painting is super fucked up. If anyone hasn't seen it, they should really have a look at it. So in terms of, like, just weaving in those themes to the album, was it a gradual thing? Was it something like a light bulb moment when you had a couple of songs that we could mix this together, or was it from the ground up, starting each song and weaving it in through there with the Greek mythology?
I think we didn't even start until we started knowing this is what it was going to be, and then it was like, how's that thematically present itself. You know, I think there's so many different ways to go with that in terms of like the light stuff. Like Financial Controller legit refers to Matt in his verse refers to himself as a god of money. It's a very subtle thing, you know. Then you have songs like Lotus Eaters where the entire thing is about being caught in like a loop or a daze, and that was from the interwoven throughout the entirety of the song. And it's about dying, and then, you know, kind of that moment in where you're still alive but dying, and wanting that to exist forever. So certain songs do it on like a quite surface level where it's like a kind of fun callback, and then some songs it's like it's built into the foundation of the song. But we knew what we wanted the album to be, so we kind of worked backwards from there.
Brilliant. So since we've talked again, I mentioned you've done a lot of live shows, some great shows that I've been lucky to be in attendance for as well. Lost Lane obviously comes to mind for that one. But what have been some of your favorites since then? You've done a number of festivals as well. So any standout moments so far?
There's been a few. We got to the UK. We had our debut in the UK in Brighton for the Great Escape. That was really cool. To be honest, we had a crazy weekend at that. That was dope. That was something that I'll be very, very fond of. We did get our initial American booking for South by Southwest. Obviously, with everything that went on, that didn't go ahead. But to even be recognised and to be put on that list was a huge moment for us. Yeah, there's been some cool stuff. I think the best moments for me have just been like we've just been slowly gaining more and more traction and more speed with people, and people are considering us. You know, it's like seeing people's Spotify wrap-ups for the year, and you see that like we're someone's favorite artist for the year or someone's favorite song. That shit will always top the list for me.
And I think Other Voices again, which was fucking great. I want to do a third time. I want to do a three-peat, much like Jordan, you know. But I want to do Other Voices for third year in a row. That was great.
Yeah, it's a magic place. Dinkel's crazy.
Fantastic. Lads, since we last talked to you, a lot's happened, as we said, but what have you learned, first about songwriting, and then secondly, just about live performances?
I don't know. I mean, look, you always want to be growing. You always want to be developing. I think it's more, I don't even know if it's more what have we learned, but for me anyways, it's more of like what have I listened to? Because I think if you hear something that hasn't been done before, you hear something that's a new sound, it really does kind of push you, you know, or if you see people who are like your contemporaries who are doing great stuff, it pushes you. So I think I think hip hop as a genre is something that's kind of like, it's competitive in its nature. So that would be the main thing. I feel like, you know, I haven't learned that much, but I've seen people do things, and it's kind of forced you to rise to the occasion in terms of songwriting and performances or whatever.
For sure. I think that the album helped a lot with like my writing now. I think we tried something quite ambitious, and it was really fun, and it was a much more out of the box scenario than what I'm used to. But now that kind of just changes how I write now. I think I'm very comfortable in that space now, so it's much more enjoyable and more comfortable writing about concepts now, and just spawning through ideas, which is fun. I think performances were just a lot tighter, thankfully. You know, like we have some choreography on stage that people might not pick up on, but that's stuff that's been pre-decided before we go on, and certain movements we make and certain actions we take. And I love seeing that kind of work out well on stage and people commenting on that.
Brilliant. So it's quite an opportune time to chat to you this time around as well, because new single out at the moment, White Boy of the Month. You want to kind of talk to us about that? I think I saw on Twitter that you said that you were gone from the meme stuff with Men Are Trash to the serious stuff with the album, and now you're straight back to the meme stuff.
Yeah, man, we're just having fun, you know. I think doing an album, especially if you're doing something that's like important to you, or you think it means something emotionally to you, it's quite draining, you know. It's quite like, because you're doing that shit for a year plus. Like, if you're in a headspace where your album's real depressing, in fact, I think the album wasn't overly depressing, but if you're in that headspace, you have been in that headspace for months, you know. Like, writing a song like Low Sears is cool, but writing that Low Sears number one simple piece back to back and listening to him, and like that shit drains you. Like, it's not fun to make sad songs. I've never been that person where I'm like, oh, I love making sad music. I find it does affect me a lot. So yeah, I think before we dive into like a next big project, we're kind of releasing like a couple of loosey singles, like an EP where it's just like a little more relaxed in tone, you know. And it's fun. It's fun to be kind of in this space where the stakes are not like gods and fame and our future. It's like dick jokes and maybe, you know, fucking about a little bit, but just figuring it out.
Yeah, that was like the key idea for our next piece as well. And this, all these kind of Lucy's were like, doesn't matter. Whatever we're doing now, it doesn't matter. It's just, it's fun. It's music, and that's it. So it's great. Even like you'll notice in like, even on the marketing side of things, we're just, this is a song about being average, and that's all we gave for the press release, and that's it.
David, just want to pick up on something you said there, that, you know, writing songs, you're inspired by what you're listening to. So both of you guys, what are you listening to at the moment? What's piquing your interest?
Let me think. In terms of Irish people that I'm bopping to, you know, been listening to Maliki. Maliki's obviously dope. Dara Patel, you know, the shining knight of Kildare. Love to see it. And you know, I tell you what, there's so much good Irish music. I'm listening to a little bit of everybody. Like, I quite enjoyed the Pat Lagoon tape, you know. I'm just kind of going along those lines. But then internationally, I've got really back into K-Flay. Once again, I think it was talking K-Flay last time we were here. And just, yeah, this is an array of stuff, you know. Listen to a lot more kind of indie rock, hip hop fusions and stuff like that. So love a bit of the Wallows as of late. But then you have Rena Swaya, I'm not saying that right, but her album was fucking dope. Like some cool kind of rock shit, you know. I think the next song we release, it's very not Tebi Rex, it's very Dominic Fike, the next thing that's coming out. So letting those influences kind of drive us right now.
Yeah, for sure. That's fair. I mean, it's summer, so I'm listening to just Lola Carner and just chill hip hop beats a lot. Aries is dope. It definitely got me into Aries.
Aries is dope. Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be the majority of my consumption. Other than that, all the same old stuff I always listen to. I get very stuck in a rut with my old music.
So lads, the last time we were here, we were talking about goals, and obviously one of the goals that you talked about was the album. So that's obviously a little check.
Sweet. Yeah.
I have a goal that I want to set for you, and I want a reaction to see how you think you might be able to achieve it. Do you think you could ever overtake the Nace Ball as Kildare's biggest attraction?
Oh yeah, man, I think so. For sure, man. Like, you know, it's so funny because we were actually just chatting about that because we were talking about this song coming out soonish. And I was just saying to the old managers, I'm like, hey, listen, we need to target some Nace media, some Nace radio, some Kildare radio stations and papers. Because usually it's just like the Dublin shit picks it up. We don't have to ask. It just kind of picks it up. I'm like, let's target fucking shit in Kildare. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get myself to be a national landmark, maybe up in a Kill Village there or something. You know, have my grave be a site people can visit when I'm gone.
Have we ever had a local paper write about us?
Not Kildare. Everywhere in the fucking country bar Kildare, I believe. It's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, that's weird.
That sounds really entitled. And let me just stress, I don't think we're owed anything. I absolutely don't think we're owed anything. But if fucking papers in like the UK have written about us and I live like in Kildare, like give me a fucking article, you know what I'm saying? My nigga, like if a fucking shitty band does a fucking shitty song that gets 100 views, y'all like, oh, Kildare band did this thing. Like, suck my dick. We were on TV. We were on the late show. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't know. I really don't. I don't want to say it's racism, but fuck those guys. I mean that. I say I with chest.
Right. Okay.
He's like, oh, okay.
He's right though. Little Sarah's getting her gold medal in the community games, getting put in the paper. You know, I'd beat the shit out of little Sarah if I had to. If that's what it meant.
Hey, I'm not saying you're wrong. I mean, in short, I think what you're saying is you can overtake the Nace Ball as Kildare's biggest attraction.
I think it could be a joint collaboration. You know, we could go hand in hand, ball and ball.
Very good. But Daffy, let's. So you are a Kildare boy, born and bred, but
well, not born, but you know, bred anyway. I moved there when I was 2, so.
But
you've made the move out of there now.
Yeah, man. I'm in my new house. Housemate just walked by there. You know what I'm saying?
You're living in the big time now. Has the move to Dublin been?
I fucking hate Dublin, man. On God, like, because I like being near my friends, and that's really cool. Because it's like a lot of like people are within walking distance. Like Matt is close enough to me. It's very convenient, you know. And the main appeal for moving here was 2 things. It was For work, which is gone out the window because I don't need to fucking go to work anymore. I work from home. But for 2, it was like doing stuff midweek because when you're in Kildare, like I lived in Kildare on the edge, so it wasn't too hard to come to Dublin. But the bus, doing stuff midweek, it wasn't really possible, man. You know what I'm saying? You had to get home, all this kind of shit. It was too much stress. But I tell you now, that's cool. But I'm like living in where am I? I'm living in Walkinstown. I keep on forgetting, right? And Dublin's so fucking weird because people don't say hello to strangers on the street. It's very fucking rude. It's off the cuff, not very nice. 2, if you're walking from Walkinstown, if you walk down this long road all the way to like Tirrenier, you can see it go from like working class to kind of wealthy over like a transitionary period. As in like you're walking down the same road. Now houses are getting like it's a little bit nicer with each new street, but it's all the same road, and it's so insane to me. It's so weird how it's like sectioned like that, you know? It's very bizarre.
Yeah, it's the same here. I'm in Ringsend, so it's like nice apartment block, council apartment block, big Google apartment block, council apartment block, and it's mad seeing the mix of people walk around and no one nods, no one says hi.
It's such a massive, drastic difference, you know what I'm saying? Like, the one of these rich niggas is getting robbed. Y'all should be getting robbed. You flaunting on people's faces. Like, in Kildare and shit, it would be, like, separated. There's a distance between the two, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a you know, big enough distance between the two. It's not just like, oh, right beside me. Like,
yeah, that's one thing. When I started going to college up in Dublin, like I'm from the back arse of nowhere in Waterford, so like I mean, if you're walking or you're running around the roads here, or even driving, you salute everybody. You give like the 2-finger salute to everybody, if you know who the person is and all that kind of crap. And then moving to Dublin, non-existent. You walk past somebody on the street, it's literally eyes to the floor, walk straight ahead. Like, because if you look at them, they could like start on you, like theoretically. I mean, depending on the person, it can be quite aggressive, which is something that I definitely noticed moving up there.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It feels so like it feels like so big city. I'm too busy. You know, it feels like you're not in New York, mate. You can just wave or nod. You know, you could. You don't have to, but it'd be nice.
Like I get it walking around like O'Connell Street, Crafton Street. Obviously, it's not feasible to go and say hello and wave to everybody who walks past you. But like, I mean, I was living in Donecarney, which is up on the north side, and most recently I was living in Santry. And even if you're walking up and down the road, particularly like if the road isn't busy, like if you were the only 2 people walking, like if you're the only person you can see and you walk past them, still no interaction whatsoever.
Yeah, man, it's foul. It's rude.
Lads, when was the last time you seen each other? Like, I was going to ask that, but obviously you're pretty close now in terms of living together. So
saw Matt yesterday.
Yeah, that was the first time in ages as well. Like such a long time. If you asked us this yesterday, it would have been a different story.
Yeah. 2 months plus or something. But yeah.
We had a socially distant gathering yesterday. It was nice.
But we've always kind of done stuff apart from like the 1 year where we were both in college together. Did you live in were you president for 1 year yet?
Yeah, 2015. We met in 2015. I had a year there.
Yeah, then you moved out after.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we basically had 1 year where we lived close to each other, and that was it, when we were both in Maynooth at the same time. That was a fun year. But besides that, it's always been like a video chat like this. We've been doing this for time, you know? So yeah, it's kind of the norm for us at this stage.
Yeah.
Not bad. I suppose it's kind of a question you have to ask everyone now in quarantine. What's the quarantine life? What's the Blur's days look like? What are you watching? What are you doing? How are you passing the time?
Blur's Day, I like that.
I like Blur's Day.
Blur's Day. The days of Blur together. It's a Blur's Day.
Absolutely.
Lovely.
Mine's been good. Like I said this yesterday, I can't really complain. My situation's been great. Like I live with my girlfriend, so we were in a long distance relationship for a while. We moved in together in like October, and now we're like in the closest distance relationship ever. So it's like we're getting loads of time together. I'm still working. I work in software, so work is as normal for me on a laptop every day. I'm actually at my standing desk right now, which is made of an ironing board, and a couple of like books and a stand and stuff. But yeah, it's business as usual, kind of. Just that I just don't see anyone apart from my girlfriend. But yeah, it's about it.
Yeah, man, boys, I'm just being my schmeat, you know. So staying active, staying healthy, you know yourself, man. But listen, I think it's normal. I think you know, it's kind of, you go into pangs of it where it's like, okay, this is fine. And it's like, this is terrible. And then it's like, it's getting fine again. So, yeah. How you boys doing, man? How's the quarantine life been hanging with y'all?
You also beating your Billy rolls or what?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, I was doing this little video project there for a while, which I released on my Instagram last weekend, which was keeping me busy. I was doing college work up until I started that, so I mean now that's gone out the window. So the days now, I think, like now I'm kind of noticing the days are kind of taking longer to go by because I don't have enough to fill my time. But like hopefully, with the restrictions being lifted ever so slightly, I'll start to get to see more people. The book center, Daffy, shout out the book center, you know.
That's like the book center. Never have the fucking book I want ever. Not fucking once.
The book center, my lovely workplace, they're planning for reopen on the 8th of June. So hopefully I'll be back to work then, because it looks like that's going to coincide with whenever they're going to start stopping that COVID weekly payment thing. So I could be back to work around the middle of June, which will...
Tell you what, boys, you're both graduating this year, yeah?
Yeah, we're done, basically.
So how's the job market looking, like, for people who are kind of fresh out? Like, what's the crack with that?
We're basically doing both masters now.
Yeah.
So
you both doing masters, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, girl, that's what I did, man. Fuck the real world, bro. Go back.
Yeah. Never gonna leave, lads. Never gonna leave.
Never gonna leave. I'm gonna do a PhD, I think, in a year or so, man. I'm not being a fucking adult. I am my fault.
Yeah.
Dr. Max Anga. That's the new stage name.
That's it, though, man. I think I might be, if I get a PhD, I'm like the most highly educated rapper ever. I wonder.
Possibly.
Let's check.
I mean, masters wasn't even on my radar pre-COVID, but when obviously everything happened, it was kind of looking like the job market in general was going to be shit. Never mind in communications and media. It's never great in that industry. But after this whole thing goes down, I think it's going to be even worse than usual. So my thing was just like, what harm? I'm not going to miss much in terms of like not going out into the real world for another year, and I'll come out of it better educated and more employable. So, well,
boys, I'll tell you what now as well. This is such a key time for like a little bit of upskilling. Like companies are dying for practical skills. Like, what is your design like? What is your sound editing like? You know, what is your music editing like? Just like, you don't even need to be great at it, but if you can do like very basic video editing and shit out, which obviously you probably can, just pick one of the ones you can't. And that's what's like golden right now, you know. I think because especially in communications, they want people who are all rounders now in media, you know. Like that's what, because everything at the initial shock is no one wants to hire, but the fact that everything's gone digital and virtual, they're gonna start hiring those people like crazy down the line. Like that's what's needed. So yeah,
for sure. I mean, my master's is in emerging media, so it's a lot of practical stuff like your video editing and audio editing and stuff. And I obviously have a bit of skill from like doing the podcast and editing that, but I definitely need to branch out like the entire Adobe suite. I basically should try and teach myself over the summer, which is kind of like a goal that I have, is to try and get more versed in like Premiere Pro and Illustrator and all that kind of crack. So that's kind of the plan for me. That's how I'm going to fill my days for the next few weeks, for sure.
Yeah, you're productive.
That's the way to go.
Absolutely. Lads, I was supposed to be heading to New York this week for my J1, and then the whole thing kind of fell apart, of course. But yeah, I'm back at home in Cavan, and I'm working night shifts in security monitoring now. So I was home at 7 a.m. this morning and was up at 1:30 in the afternoon.
Rough.
So, you're meant to be in New York instead.
New York,
That's
not for the
that's awful.
That's a big oof. But sure, look, it's not too bad. At least I'm working anyway. I don't really mind. And in terms of the masters, again, it'll be good to have work. And you're right, Daffy, when you say just as much experience as you can. At this point.
Guys,
that's practical skills. I heard Colin saying he was happy your J1 got cancelled because he keeps his friends. He was telling me the other day. He was like, I'm happy it got shut down.
Oh.
Fuck those fellas.
Thanks for
I wasn't surprised if Colin was gonna like go in our like little suitcase with us. I wouldn't have been surprised.
He was not looking forward to his leaving anyways, man.
I know.
See, it's funny, I only really ever like randomly run into Colin, but I run into him so much, so it's like I have like a periodic update on like you guys' lives. Like he like keeps me in the loop, you know.
Hey,
Yeah.
there's one very good reason that we always run into each other, Daffy, and she lives in Tremor.
Yes, my girlfriend lives in Waterford, so I be catching them when I'm in around the town or getting the bus down and stuff like that. So I say I be running to call them like, yo.
Yeah. Hey guys, I was just gonna say, like I know it's shit that like Gav couldn't do his J1 and he couldn't do South by Southwest, but you gotta feel sorry for the Americans who are deprived of your company.
That's
Wow,
true.
this is him. They
That's
would have enjoyed
true.
it.
I mean, they would have had Gav for an entire summer. I'm sure they would have got sick of them, but I'm sure you guys would have made a great impact over there if you were allowed.
God, do you have a missus?
I do.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's best you didn't go. In fact, maybe it's best you didn't go.
Well,
Birthday
like-
ones are tough.
Yeah, the whole thing with the coronavirus, though, it's like I look at America from a distance now, and I'm like, I don't want to be there. It's like,
Yeah, it's chaotic, bro. Like I think me and Matt have always said that like you couldn't pay us to live in America. Like some record label was like, well, I mean, listen, my mind changed my mind on this, but some record label was like, hey, yo, whatever, you just gotta live in the States. I'd be like, I don't
Yeah, mine
want it.
changed. I used to want to live in America my whole life, and now I'm like, well, no, you can pass on that. I
Yeah.
don't need that. No thanks. Maybe for a while, like a year, but like I would never raise kids there.
Even a year is a bit. I do like 9 months, like a 9 month stint. You can do an album in 9 months, bust down for 9 months. But
True.
nah, it's deep. But America is nice. Like, I'm actually I'm supposed to visit my friends were supposed to come visit this summer, at festivals. My God, everything's terrible. Everything's ruined. You know what I'm saying? But there you go. There it is.
Matt, since we obviously last spoke, you have done some solo work as well.
Yeah.
You've been
Just the
working-
one since we last spoke, I think, was it? I don't do a lot of it.
Sure if Lovely was out at the time that we spoke first time.
Oh, then it's two. Yeah, the 2 tracks. Both with Chris Gabbs, actually, funny enough. It just seems I only do solo work with him.
Working with him, he gets around in terms of the Irish music industry. He's helped out loads of people. So what is it like to work with him?
Well, we had worked with him. We did our first EP with him. A lot of the first EP, not all of it, but I think did we record all the EP with him? But he made,
recorded all with him.
Yeah, he made Blue, and he made the beats for Blue and Pink. Man, he's nuts. Honestly, he's crazy. He's a crazy person. I love him to bits. But like, he's so insane. And maybe that's why he's such a good creative. Like, he's very quick. I would have to say, I love him for his melodies. Is the main thing. He will whip out a melody so fast, whatever key you give him. So you're making a song in minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a madman to work with.
And then obviously Harry brought out his. I mean, if somebody doesn't know, Harry is the guy's DJ, DJ Red. He brought out That's the Point, and Daffy, you featured on that as well. So I mean, you're coming at us from all fronts at the moment, really.
I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Like, bare features down the line. Just staying busy. I think it's just like the time to do it. Obviously, I think the whole year with the album, we kind of had to not do too much of that kind of stuff. But now it's, we're kind of going nuts with it. So a couple of features from a couple of big peeps down the line. And just having fun with it, man.
That's it. I think it's just because like we're musicians at the end of the day. So it's like, we have a very structured plan in place for ourselves. We like to have it that way. But when it comes to like featuring other songs or even like doing your own solo thing, it's just a lot more, you can just toss stuff up there and see what happens. And it's just fun to write the stuff, to be honest. So like there's a lot of unreleased music with Harry on this computer. God knows whatever gets released from us just being in the house and just having to be around.
Cool. Guys, as we wrap up, I'm just going to ask you, let's say we're here in a year and a half time.
Which we will be. We do this now periodically. Tree-peat at Jordan.
The Tebi Rex annual on In Conversation.
Yeah, man. This once a year, man. This once every year or two.
Where will Tebi Rex be in Conversation with Tebi Rex annual number 3?
Oh, let's go for serious predictions. I'd love this.
Okay, we would have done South by Southwest. There's one. A year from now. Wait. Okay, so we've done South by Southwest.
We'll be alluding to a project, would we?
Yeah. But I mean, like a project like when? Because if it's not out, it's not out. It's like alluding to. We were done South by Southwest. I think we will have hit. I like to say one of our songs will have hit 1 million streams. A singular song. I like to think that. Ambitious, I know, but I like to believe
hit that, yeah.
The Spotify gods, really.
Yeah.
Never Off the Bus and Men Are Trash are both a third of the way there ish, 300,000 ish streams on both.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think I've been waiting for it, but I'm waiting for one of our songs to be bigger than Men Are Trash. I never got the bus, got the fuck out of here. So it's good vibes for this month, you know, man. It's good energies. And we were done a bigger headline show. Like I want to talk maybe like a 500 cap, 700 cap venue. I don't quite know how we're gonna do that quite yet. I mean, listen, I think 500 cap. I think right now we can maybe do it. I could see us getting at least 4 something in there, and then it's how we bully the other like 50. But you know, so yeah, a bigger headline show for sure. And geez, I don't even know because people doing online shows outside the country in a year. Like, fuck, this is shitty because we don't really know what the fuck we can even do in a year's time.
Hopefully a brand deal. I want like free stuff, more free stuff. Yeah, I would enjoy that.
I want to get nominated for a choice thing, bro. Like,
I would like to get nominated for choice. Yeah, that would be dope. But I got a feeling that'll be after like, I don't think it'll be a song nomination. I think it'd be like an album nomination.
The album too. How they do songs? They do songs based off like radio
overall
plays, shit like that.
Plays, yeah.
I think we could maybe get a song if it does well. The million stream song that doesn't exist yet, but will exist.
Yeah. Let's knock Men Are Trash way down to like 4th or 5th place. But
I want to even show up in the top 3, you know, for sure.
Yeah.
Brilliant, lads. Thanks a million for joining us for the second time. Once again, the first ever repeat guest on In Conversation with Tebi Rex.
Repeat.
We'll see you at some point at the end of 2021 for part 3, the 3-peat.
Yeah, 2021, 2022. You know, we might see you boys down at Other Voices when you are interviewing there or something. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And sure, we'll catch you on the road somewhere in between all that as well. So,
yeah, you see us buzzing about somewhere.
This is In Conversation with Tebi Rex for the second time. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.